oil, they have everything, right?
But they are big donors.
They're big donors to
they
Republican
support-
right-wing causes, yes.
And I assume
And they have done, they've kind of weaponized philanthropy in a very interesting way.
Yeah.
They set up all these foundations and then reroute all that money that's donated.
where I had my kid was a Coke,
Right.
The New York Presbyterian Hospital.
They have the
is a
Coke Theater, is the Met.
Love the guy.
So
They're doing a great job.
they are a huge force in right-wing politics.
Okay, so now I'm assuming that some of this philanthropy is benevolent, sure.
They have more of an interest in federal policy. He has more of an interest in state policy, crime, DA.
I want to get to that in 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, but I assume that all these donations are not necessarily altruistic. They, in some way,
Yes.
help the Koch brothers' business pursuits, right?
Yes.
They can make, I don't know, change legislation,
Yes.
make it a little easier to do business, make some more money, right?
Yes.
So that's what you're dumping money into.
There's a great book about this called Dark Money by Jane Mayer, where she wrote about how the Koch brothers realized there was a limit to campaign contributions, and then they started, infiltrating universities. They started really selecting people to be professors. They went on a granular level to try to advance their policy ideas. Influence culture.
And, okay, but I understand this, because as long as these policies are out there and these ideologies are out there, and then maybe they might look at it and be like, yo, we're being heroes. We're actually saving the United States of America.
That's
we're
right.
saving freedom. So I'm not saying that they're nefarious actors here.
Sure.
But all the things that they support potentially
Wait, what does that
make
mean?
them more money, right?
Oh,
Let's
yes.
just say, okay, so
Oh,
that's
yeah.
ideally.
And they're friends.
And they're friends. More money. So that's bottom line. So I guess I'm trying to understand if Soros is the equal and opposite reaction. In other words, the quote unquote benevolent donator from the left wing side, what is he donating to that helps his businesses? Like, what are his businesses that deploying this type of cash is going to support?
Soros made billions of dollars a long time ago, crashing the English pound.
I read that.
He's a financier, but his interest is in social policy. So Soros.
How does that benefit him?
Well, there's a lot of ideological reasons that George Soros believes the things he does. Like, he is a believer that the carceral state in America is.
That means prison.
Prisons are completely unfair and unjust, and he's not completely wrong there. What Soros often does is he will go and get two left-wing DAs and support them both so that they go head-to-head, and that the most left-wing one, they push each other to the extremes, and then the most extreme one will win. And his goals are what he feels like is a reformation of the American criminal justice system to be more focused on rehabbing criminals, not putting people in jail that don't belong there, and changing that dynamic.
So on paper, that looks like it makes sense. It looks
great on paper.
Now, I think that he's been blamed, and maybe rightfully so, I don't know enough, for the kind of destruction of some liberal cities.
Well, there are a lot of Soros-backed and funded DAs who are pushing ideas like no bail. They're pushing ideas like not
incentivizing crime in a way.
Yeah, and
But how does he make money on this? That's the only thing that's missing from this equation. I hear this a lot, and if it's pure benevolence, he just wants to change the justice system, that's weird. But there has to be some way where he can profit off of this.
Well, I'm sure there is, by the way. I'm sure there is. I think that there's, all kinds of things, and I don't know the Soros portfolio, right? But there's a lot of tech companies right now that are focusing on surveillance and things like that, because as things get less safe,
if there's more crime, then you would need
more surveillance. Yeah.
So that to me makes sense.
These guys are all behind the vaccine passports. They were all behind. They are all behind a world in which everybody's on the grid in a major way.
So if you're invested in the grid, you want to do everything you can to make sure more people have to sign up for the grid.
I think you want to deliver
sense.
people into a world, and you have to deliver them through a little chaos.
You can't force them there, but you can create a system.
You can make them want the surveillance.
Hey, give us safety.
Yes.
Hey, my car got broken into 5 times. Can you put up some cameras somewhere around
here?
So now you're begging for your own imprisonment.
If your goal is big government, and your goal is a omnipresent government force, then I think a little street chaos is probably good ultimately.
But do you believe that's his goal? Because that's a far cry from, I just think the prison system should be reformed.
I just think he's wrong. Here's the thing with George Soros. I just think he's wrong. I don't know how Machiavellian he is. I think he's wrong. I think the way his goals are good, the way he's getting there is wrong. I think he's wrong. I think people can be wrong. I don't think we have to ascribe negative motives to everybody.
He could do it.
I think he's wrong.
Yeah.
I think he's wrong. I think that the policies he's pursuing make the people he purports to care about less safe. And those are poor people, people in the inner city, things like that, that are on public transit, are, you know, maybe going to be the victims of a crime. I think he's wrong. I don't know him well enough to know what his overarching motives are. And it's hard, you know, we can say that, and I don't know, he might, I do know that he's incredibly concerned with what he feels, you know, he pushes the ideology of kind of the DIE, the diversity, equity, inclusion ideology, where he believes that
Sit
the
down,
American
son.
society is fundamentally unfair.
Take a seat there.
And that it needs to be